Do you like history? Because I do. I do struggle, I can't lie, with some things that we call facts. And I don't want to turn this into some kind of crazy conspiracy theory regarding the truth that we are told, but how easy would it be for those who write the history books to lie? There's no fact checkers. All of those who lived through ancient history are obviously long gone. We cannot confirm nor deny what they say happened all of those years ago. But here's what I do know. All ancient peoples across the globe had a few things in common, and that was they all have some sort of supernatural writings, stories, folklore, urban legends. Why? From the mountains of Peru to the Appalachian Hills, Ardennes Forest to Mount Fuji and the rest of Asia, the sands of Africa, they all have these stories and monsters. Where did they come from? And how is it that almost all parts of the world have ghosts and monster stories? Some say it was to scare the kids. I think it's more than that, although they do scare the kids. But truly, these legends we both know, they come from some kind of truth. I grew up next to Riverdale Road in Colorado, one of the most haunted roads across the globe, home in itself to more stories and legends than some small countries. And I can tell you right now, some of those stories I've experienced on my own. This is BSM Horror, and welcome back. This is Season 1, Episode 2. Tonight's first story is an interaction which I have composed myself, inspired by the Bunny Man, an urban legend that I find interesting. It is not true, or is it? You be the judge. This is The Tunnel. Some legends aren't just stories. Some things don't die, they wait. In Fairfax County, Virginia, there's a real place called Colchester Overpass. Locals just call it the Bunny Man Bridge. The legend goes that in the early 1900s, a man escaped from a mental asylum. Weeks later, skinned rabbits started showing up in the trees surrounding the bridge. Some nailed to the wood with railroad spikes, others arranged in ritualistic patterns. When police finally caught up with the man, he was hanging upside down beneath the bridge, gutted, like the rabbits, and no one ever figured out who killed him, or why. Now, every Halloween, kids dare each other to stand under the bridge at midnight, and if you do, they say you'll hear scratching, then giggling, and finally, a whisper from the shadows. You're next, Bunny. That's the legend. But this story, this one's not a dare. It's a confession. It was October 30th, Mischief Night, when my brother Cole said we were going. He had two friends with him, Max, the loud one, and Lana, the girl who was always too quiet. We had a speaker, some beers we weren't supposed to have, and a dumb plan to scare ourselves silly. Just a few pictures under the bridge, Cole said, slapping the flashlight against his palm. In and out, no big deal. We parked near the woods around 11:30 p.m., and even from there, I could see the overpass. The cement was cracked, and the metal beams above were rusted blood brown. Someone had spray painted a rabbit's face across one side, huge, dripping red eyes and a grin too wide. The air was damp and cold, the kind that sticks to your skin, and as we walked through the trees, I noticed something off. There were sounds. No sounds. No crickets. No wind. Just silence. We set up under the bridge. Cole snapped photos with his phone. Max started playing creepy sound effects from his Bluetooth speaker, laughing like it was all a joke. Lana didn't laugh. She kept looking back toward the trees. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. Max rolled his eyes. "Hear what? Your heartbeat?" "No," she said. "It was scratching." I turned off the speaker, and there it was. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It wasn't fast, more like nails across a wall or claws across stone. It was getting closer. Cole shined his flashlight toward the trees. Nothing. Max threw a beer can into the woods. "Come on, bunny man, show us your fluffy little..." Then we heard it. Laughter. High-pitched. Unnatural. But it wasn't coming from the woods. It was above us. We all looked up. On top of the bridge, crouched on the rusted beam like some kind of sick gargoyle, was a figure. It wore a rabbit mask, long ears cracked and drooping, the mouth sewn into a grin. Its body was draped in something stitched together. Fur? Maybe skin? It didn't move. It didn't speak. It just stared. We ran. Cole grabbed Lana. Max bolted ahead. I was last. Always the slowest. Behind me, I heard the crunch of gravel and something dragging. I turned just once. The thing was on the ground now, walking with a limp, like its bones weren't set right, and one hand held a hatchet. Rusted, but you could tell it was sharp, the blade catching just enough moonlight to gleam. We didn't stop running until we reached the car, but Max was already inside, fumbling the keys, screaming at us to go. Cole jumped in next, but Lana, she was gone. We all started shouting her name. I ran back toward the tree line, calling, yelling out, nothing. Then, from the dark, I heard her voice. "Help. Please." I followed it. Deeper into the trees. The voice led me to a clearing near the tracks, and there, hanging from the trees, were rabbits. Dozens of them. Skinned, rotting. At the center, nailed to a tree, was Lana's hoodie. Still warm. No blood, no body. Just the hoodie. And a note, scrawled in charcoal. "I always take one." The police never found Lana. No prints, no signs of struggle. They thought she ran off, maybe fell into the river. But we knew better. Cole wouldn't speak about it. He dropped out of school. Max moved out of state and started drinking too much. Me? I stayed quiet. Until now. But here's the part I can't explain. Last week, 10 years since that night, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid. Showed a tunnel. And in the center, standing just in the shadows, was a girl wearing a torn hoodie. Some stories are warnings. Some are curses. But some, like this one, they don't end when the legend fades. They end when you start listening, when you go looking, when you get curious. So if you ever find yourself driving through Fairfax County, and you see an old bridge covered in graffiti, don't stop. Don't take pictures, and whatever you do not listen for scratching. Because the bunny man's still out there. And he always takes one. Like I said, some urban legends exist for a reason. Let's be honest, some of them are myths. We know they are. But some places, objects, just give off uneasy feelings. Your body knows something is off. That's what causes the fear. I know a lot about this energy. I grew up next to potentially one of the most haunted roads in the country, Riverdale Road in Thornton, Colorado. I went to Riverdale Elementary, and everybody seemed to know about the haunting or curse that the road has. I've got a laundry list of haunted experiences on that road, and I've got a double feature, that's right, 2 stories that I want to share with you all. One, an absolutely weird night followed by an experience that I remember to this day. And the second, a night out in high school and an attempt to scare girls that ended up scaring us. BSM Horror presents Encounters on Riverdale Road. It was a quiet night in March 2008. I was at home downstairs, 9 years old at the time, just after dinner, about 7:30ish. We weren't rich, but my parents were in good shape back then. The house was only a couple of years old and upkept very well. It was a typical new build in the Colorado suburbs, 3-bed, 3-bedroom, 2-story home. It was nice back then. I was watching the Avalanche game with my mom and dad. They had been on edge the whole day. My older sister was pregnant, and there had been some major issues with this pregnancy, and a routine checkup had turned into something scary. The phone rang. It was her. Didn't even make it to the second ring. "Hello?" my dad said nervously. "They're going to do a C-section," she said. "The umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. There's a good chance we've already lost him." My dad had his keys in his hand before he even hung up the phone. "We're on our way," he said. We all put our jackets on and shoes and headed out. It was chilly, very strong, cold air. I remember it hitting my face and flushing me bright red, almost the exact same color as the old 80s Bronco 2 that we were driving. It was an old square body, base model, manual, no AC, but it was enough. My dad bought it new back in 1984, just a year after my sister was born. I crawled into the back seat and we all took off. I don't really remember the drive there, but I know we took the highway. I'll spare the details of the hospital visit, but it was a long night. The C-section was successful, and my nephew was born that night, although extremely premature, a little over 3.5 pounds. But he made it. He's had a number of challenges in his life, many surgeries. He is very handicapped and will need help his entire life, but he's made it. He's a fighter. Anyways, the surgery took a while. We got to the hospital sometime around 8:15, stayed until a little after 3 a.m. The entire family was relieved. Stress levels were down, but my mom wanted to stay with my sister, so she stayed the night. My dad had to work in the morning, so me and him went home. It was now about 3:30. My dad wasn't in too much of a rush for some reason, decided not to take the highway. Instead, we took the back roads. We turned off of 104th Avenue onto Riverdale Road, where we'd be on it for about 7 miles. We made it about halfway through. I was in the front seat, watching through the windshield in awe. The trees seemed to hug over the road and touch each other. It was like driving through some kind of tunnel. Each turn led to something else. We got to the spot by the big dairy, with it on the right side, and there was a house on the left, followed by a field. 1 minute we were driving fine, and the next minute, the car just quit. No sputter, no warnings. The lights went black, and the darkness of the light hit us, with only moonlight lighting the way. I looked over in terror to my dad as the car came to a stop. "What do we do, Dad?" I asked. "I don't know, son," he said. We both happened to look to our left because we heard piano. There were definitely some piano notes being played. And in the middle of the trees in the field sat a piano, lit up in the moonlight with a clearing in the trees like we were meant to see it. And when we looked closer, we noticed somebody was playing the piano. It was definitely the shape of a man. When he saw us, he stood up, walked into the forest. This was the first time that I've ever seen the look of worry in my dad's face. He was just as scared as I was. I know it. However, as soon as the figure disappeared, the Bronco fired right back up. My dad had been cranking the key this entire time, trying to get it to do anything. And finally, lights came on, engine roared back to life, put it into gear, and we took off. We made it home that night without saying too much. Went to sleep. Never really talked about it until I was much older. Me and my dad shared drinks. He finally talked a little more, and we laughed about how scary it was and how scared we were. But I know we're still spooked by it. That piano was there in the woods for a long time. I used to drive by it all the time. I frequently drove that road as it was the quickest way to get to my school, then to my friends as I got older. I think it was finally my junior or senior year in high school, somebody destroyed it. I wonder if they saw the same thing that I did. The notes were real, and the silhouette of that man, I know what I saw. I wonder if he still roams that area today, not far from where they started to build houses. I know one thing. You could not catch me buying a house anywhere near that site. Must be for those out-of-staters who just moved here. My next story. Fast forward about 8 years from that event. I was in high school. My best friend had the party house. His basement was our headquarters for messing around. After football games and on the weekends, he'd invite people over for bonfires and parties. And this night was just another one of those autumn nights. There were girls, alcohol, people were vaping, just hanging out. Somebody who didn't come to the parties a lot was there, and he didn't believe in the Riverdale Road rumors. My best friend, his name was Adam, lived not far off the road. He was about 2 blocks away from the elementary school. The back of the elementary school, where the playground and baseball field is about 200 yards from the road itself. The non-believer, his name was Charlie. He was confident, drunk confident, that there wasn't anything on that road. We can go there right now and I bet you nothing is going to happen. Let's go, he said. My other buddy named Brandon, really the only sober one, agreed to drive him there. We loaded up in his old 90s Explorer, about 6 of us deep, us 3 guys, and 3 other girls. I don't remember their names, but I know we wanted to scare them. Brandon drove us over to the road, and we drove up and down twice. The entire 13-mile stretch. It was probably about 11:30 or so at night, very dark. When he pulled over on the road, this was his attempt to scare the girls because we saw nothing. It was near the dairy again, and it had a weird feeling, I will admit. He said, "I think my car is having trouble." So me and him got out of the car, and he popped the hood. The rest of the kids piled out and stood outside. We had a bottle of some old, shitty-tasting whiskey that we passed around and messed around for a few. The sky was so beautiful that night, and we were away from light pollution. You could see so many stars, and the moon was so bright. We stared up there looking at it, and then spun each other around trying to see who we could get the most dizzy. We were spinning Charlie around, when all of a sudden, from the trees next to the cornfield, we heard a loud, demented chuckle. Like it was laughing at us, laughing with us. We all froze, and then heard the laugh again, followed by what sounded like an axe chop into one of the trees, a loud thud, and one more laugh. By this time, we had all proceeded to yell and get back into the car. The Explorer fired right back up, and we drove home. Charlie never questioned the road again, needless to say. He was now a believer. We were all terrified that night, and in an attempt to scare the girls, we ended up with yet another chilling tale from that road. There's something about it. I don't know what exactly it is, but man, it just feels so off. I've got a lot more stories for you all, but our time has run out for this week's podcast. Once again, this is BSM Horror. If you'd like to share a terrifying story of your own, please send it in to bsmhorrorstories@gmail.com. Email will be in the link of this video. So, what did we learn today? Something about urban legends, tales as old as tales themselves. Some of them, I'm sure, are just pure myth. But some legends never die. And some send chills down your spine. So, next time your friends ask you to visit the supposedly haunted location, just keep an open mind. Until next time.